All right, you guys, so I am back and I am going to be discussing your homework, which is completing the square, which is due tonight. Okay, but I want to explain to you that I'm getting a lot of texts about, well, why do I have to use completing the square? Well, I want to tell you that it's important to learn all three methods. And remember, I told you that factoring is always the best method. And then if you can't factor, you need to use the quadratic formula. But there are going to be times where you can only use completing the square. So that's why you need to take these notes and follow these directions very clearly. Let me give an example of a problem where you have to use completing the square. So let's just say that you're given a problem that says, well, what's x squared plus 4x? Well, in this case, you don't have anything else to work with, so you're going to have to know how to complete the square. I'm not going to do this problem. I'm going to do a problem from the homework, but I want to explain to you again that you have to learn all three methods. So please take your time and show your work. So I've had some requests to do number one, which is x squared plus 2x minus 24 equals 0. Now, remember, actually, number one is really, really easy once you understand the concept. So let's just follow directions very, very slowly. Okay, so remember, the first step is always to remove your constant. So if this is negative 24, you need to add 24, right, to both sides because you want to remove it over here, and that becomes 0. So now we're left with x squared plus 2x, we're going to leave a space, equals 24. Right? Now, remember, we're going to have to add something here, and we're going to have to add something here, the same thing here and here. And the way we find whatever you're adding here is you take this number right here, the term right here, and you look at the coefficient in front. So here's a 2. So you're going to take your 2 and you're going to divide it by 2, and you're going to square that. So let's do that. 2 divided by 2 is 1, squared equals 1, correct? So that's what you're adding here, and that's what you're adding over here. That's easy. So now remember, we have to make a parenthesis, and we're going to square whatever's in that parenthesis, equal, and we're going to just simplify over here. So we have 24 plus 1 is 25. Now, in order to get what's in here, remember, we need to get x squared. So we're just going to put our x, and then we're going to take our middle term, which is the same thing that we took over here. And we're going to say, well, here's 2 divided by 2, and it equals 1. Now, you're not going to square it this time. So you're going to get x plus 1 squared, because x plus 1 squared does equal this up here. If you were to FOIL this, you would get this. Okay, so, well, I'm sorry, actually I said that wrong. If you were to square this, sorry, you would get this, right? And that's what you want. So now we need to take the square root of both sides. And this is what I explained in my last video. If you didn't quite comprehend that, go back. But remember, when we're squaring, when we're taking the square root of what's inside the radical, it's just going to come out. It's just going to become itself. So x plus 1 equals the square root of 25. Well, we know the square root of 25 is 5. But we're going to always do plus and minus. Remember, that is very important, that you have to always have plus and minus, because whenever you have a radical, you can have 5 times 5 equals 25, and then you could have negative 5 times negative 5, which also equals 25. So you always have to take the plus and minus. You're having two solutions because it's a quadratic, remember? Okay, so now let's simplify this. So we have x plus 1 equals positive 5, and x plus 1 equals negative 5. Well, we know how to solve an equation, so we're going to remove our 1 here, and we get x equals positive 4. And we're going to remove our 1 over here, and now we get x equals negative 6, and there's your answer. So those are your two solutions. Now on the homework, the way they wrote the answer was, remember, you can write it like this. Well, your negative 6 is going to be first, and then your 4, because this is an interval. So your two x solutions are negative 6 and 4. So this is where the parabola is going to touch the x-axis. Hope that helped. Make sure that you're showing your steps just like this, or make sure you're putting boxes around your answers. Have a great day. Work hard. Bye-bye.